and the Crimea, and so many things that could be listed. But what doesn't get listed, it seems to me, and might very well even be the gravest threat that faces free people, certainly people in the West and people in our country, might be not the thing we say on television, not the thing we have debates and discussions about, not the things that panels talk about, but the things that aren't seen. We know what the People's Republic of China is doing in the South China Sea. What we don't see is what the inaction with respect to that, the leadership vacuum that exists in the world, that it's getting filled by people who don't share our values or share our interests. And therefore, what we don't see is some Philippine parliamentarian who gets up in the morning, looks around the world, sees what they're doing, putting a harbor, an airstrip, moving missiles in to what was a few years ago nothing but a reef. And a vote comes up in the Philippine parliament, and he has a choice. He can see the future with the PRC, or he can see the future with the West, with Japan, Republic of Korea, the United States, Australia, Singapore. But because he sees a vacuum of leadership, he might vote for the future, and he might see the future as the People's Republic of China. Or imagine a policeman's spouse in Baltimore, and another policeman gets killed here, another policeman gets killed there, goes down to breakfast some morning and says to the policeman, "Gee, dear, don't you think this is about enough of this? You've been doing this for 12 or 15 years. You're not getting any support from the local government. You're not getting any support from the people. We've now had 6 or 8 more policemen killed. Why don't we leave Baltimore, move to Phoenix, and go into corporate security or something?" El-Sisi gets up and gives a speech and talks in the most important Arab city in Cairo, in the most important Arab country, Egypt. And knowing his predecessor, Sadat, was killed by the Muslim Brotherhood offshoot, he gets up and gives a speech and says to the important group of imams, and he says, "Look, this isn't right. This isn't what our faith suggests ought to be done. This is different. This is wrong. We have to fight this. We have to deal with it." What does he do? He sticks a target on his forehead, asking to be shot or killed. Fortunately, that's not happened thus far. But where did he get support? Nowhere. It wasn't printed in the United States in the press. You didn't see our political leaders stand up and praise the speech as someone of that faith who does not believe that direction is the right direction for that faith, but is opposed to it and is willing to say so and is willing to put his life at risk for it. Well, we hold back on parts for military equipment for him because he's not our style Democrat. Doesn't behave in a manner that is acceptable to our government. So we don't help him. We not only don't help him, we don't even support the words that he spoke. So I guess what I'm saying may be that the gravest threat is not what President Obama said to the Coast Guard Academy's graduation speech this year, that it's global warming. It may be that the biggest threat is not even Iran and the unfortunate arrangements that just have been made with that country, the leading supporter of terrorism on the face of the earth. It may not even be Mr. Putin or the PRC. It may be that the weight and power of the millions of actions that we don't see reported on television all across the globe have a weight and a power that are greater than any one of these lists of 10 or 12 or 14 things one could mention as a grave threat. And I say that because they aren't being reported in the press. What the spouse of the policeman in Baltimore, the parliamentarian in the Philippines, the people down in Venezuela trying to get bread from passing cars or trucks, The gravest threat may very well be the fact that there is a leadership vacuum in the world, and the vacuum's being filled by people who don't have our interests, our values, and that is a problem that is notably unreported, undiscussed, and often the biggest problem is the one that we don't give a value to, give a weight to, give our primary attention to. With that, I'll stop and